What is going on, people? It's your boy Andy Matrix. I'm back with another video. Looks like the studio Shift Up, the creators of Stellar Blade, are not having a pretty good relationship with Sony. You know, Sony, well, maybe they're not as bad as Nintendo right now. Sony's not as bad as Nintendo, but, you know, uh, I think that many studios are just absolutely just sick and tired of the of being micromanaged, being told how their character should look. And also, Sony has been similar to what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, where like they took Tifa and basically, cover her up a little bit, you know. Um, they cover her up a little bit. So Stellar Blade has a similar story.
Hello, this is Yami Yugi from Yu-Gi-Oh! And make sure to subscribe to Andy Matrix's channel. Now on with the show.
And so, anyways, we're here at Forbes.com. It says Stellar Blade 2, right? So, part 2 of Stellar Blade will leave Sony behind to fully reflect its identity in marketing, right? So, they want to be honest about their marketing because, I don't know, there were some outfits in the original Stellar Blade that Sony decided, like, nope, nope, nope. You have to cover her up. You have to cover her up. And honestly, we are at a point in history we are at a point in gaming where a lot of studios they don't need Sony, they don't need Nintendo to reach the audience, right? They don't really need Nintendo or Xbox or Sony to reach an audience. They can do it independently nowadays. So here it says Shift Up developer Celebrate has made just a big announcement that it will also be the publisher for its sequel Stellar Blade 2. That is a change from the first game, where Stellar Blade was published by Sony Interactive, which made it a PlayStation console exclusive. This is exactly what they don't like, and delayed a PC release. A PC release that blew previous Sony first party games out of the water. This was rumored to be the way forward in the past, but now it's official. Shifto's announcement about this was interestingly worded, to say the least. Here's what it said. In the first quarter earnings, says notably starting with this title, Shift Up will transition to a first party service model. This will allow users to lead marketing. This will allow us to lead marketing strategies that fully reflect the distinctive identity of the Stellar Blade IP, and we expect to communicate the unique appeal of its universe to players more directly. Yeah, so because I think what just like any other publisher, PlayStation, Sony, they hold you back. They micromanage you, and of course they try to make things for modern audiences, right? So what they try to do, what they did with Stellar Blade, there were some of the outfits that they had to censor, right? Censor. And if you remember back a couple of years ago when people were saying that Stellar Blade's proportions were unrealistic, this is the hypocrisy. This is the hypocrisy. Whoever is getting paid to say these things, must not really like women. How is it that you look at a character or a character like Stellar Blade, and you say something like, "Oh, real women don't look like that"? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Like, have you never seen Miss Universal? I mean, heck, I know that a lot of these perverts, they watch corn. I know that these perverts, they watch corn and they see a lot of these types of women. So it's really, something that's really really, for example, when people say that anime girl proportions are not realistic, well, that I disagree. Now, I will say anime girl proportions are rare. They are rare, but they are realistic. Okay, the big titty anime girls, they're real. They exist. They're real, and you can actually go find them. Okay, so that's that's what I have to say about that. That's what I have to say about that. So, so the The studio for of Stellar Blade Shift Up, what they want, they just don't want to be micromanaged by Sony, and by publishing directly to PC and Steam, Epic Games, and to multiple other platforms, they're gonna sell more copies than they would if they were exclusive to the PlayStation. Because to the PlayStation, they only sold like what, like 2 million copies, and then after it came to PC, it sold like way more, right? So I predict that this game will sell 10 million copies in his, like, Stellar Blade 2 could easily sell 10 million copies in the next release because it was in all platforms. And this is exactly what Square Enix is doing. This is exactly what so many companies are doing because people are sick and tired of exclusivity. Exclusivity only benefits the console. It doesn't benefit the studio. It doesn't even benefit gamers. Okay? So if a game comes out for the PC, PlayStation, and the Xbox and Nintendo on the first day, right, on its release date, then that is perfect. That is perfect because that means everybody has access to the game. But it is, we cannot deny at this point. We can absolutely not deny anymore that PC sells more copies than console. PC sells more copies than console games. That is a fact. That is a freaking fact. And the Harry Potter Hogwarts game, right? Hogwarts Legacy, that was a good example. So what? I think it sold like 30 million copies. Powfish, an indie game, sold 25 million. You know, and most of those sales came from PC. More than 50% of those came from PC. So I think this is something that the people at Stellar Blade are trying to do. You know, okay, and if we do a quick Google search, the Stellar Blade, as soon as Stellar Blade came to PC, it sold 1 million copies in just 3 days, and then it came to the fastest selling PlayStation published on PC, quickly surpassing 3 million total units sold across PS5 and PC platform, right? And then eventually it sold about, I think, like 6 million copies. Right, but that's pretty much all I have to say about Stellar Blade. Whatever your thoughts are, guys, make sure to comment below, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and Godspeed, baby.